Hey everybody, I am back from being a roadie for the AIDS LifeCycle Tour 2025. If you don't know about this event, it is a huge bike ride, 2,100-ish riders from San Francisco to LA, all fundraising for AIDS treatment, HIV prevention, and life-saving services in California. So check them out. San Francisco AIDS Foundation in Northern California and the LA LGBTQ Center in Southern California. And not only is it a bike ride, but there are 750 volunteers who roadie and support the ride, and full-time staff that are also there supporting. And it just becomes this massive 3,000 person event that moves camp every day for a week. And there's so many things that happen. I can't even go into all of it. You can go look at their daily videos from last week if you want to learn more. Sadly, it was the last year of the ride in this iteration, but hoping it will become smaller events in other communities. There's both now Northern California and Southern California events for next year, more like 3-day rides. But anyway, not to get too much into that, I just want to talk about how this inspired my theme for my classes this month. So I always have a theme for the month as I'm teaching. It's what I'm infusing into every yoga sequence, every Dharma talk or Dharmet at the beginning of class. If I'm doing yoga nidra, it might inspire the storytelling, the imagery that I'm using in those classes. So check my schedule. I have quite a few classes coming up that I'm subbing beyond my regular classes. But back to the theme. This event, ALC, AIDS LifeCycle, and being a part of it, especially on the production side of it, the support side of it, and being on such an amazing team, bike parking forever, we are family now. It really made me reconsider, what does community mean? Sometimes I feel like when I'm using the word community, it's it feels like shallow, or like I'm being disingenuous when I'm like, yeah, community is important. And we hear that all the time. Community is important. But what does community actually mean? And you might stop and think about what does that mean for you? And for me, I'm going to look at my notes because my brain is really tired, but these are some things I wrote down. Community is where you can be unapologetically your true self. And it's creating safe, brave spaces where others can be themselves. I've talked about this a lot with other teachers and other people in education, but structures equal safety that can equal freedom. And hopefully that's what those structures are doing. So we create routines, rituals, not to be rigid, not to be dogmatic, this is the only way to do it, but structures that help people feel safe enough to know what to expect. And, asking those people in those communities, what do they need to feel safe? And once we have that safety established, then people can relax and be themselves and find that freedom. Now, this means, that no one gets left out, no one gets left behind. And it's messy, it's complicated, it's fluid. Big feelings happen and are allowed. Communities can also be so creative and productive in that, we get shit done kind of way. But it's messy. It's not perfect. And hopefully communities are focusing more on progress, not perfection. We said that all the time, even on this past event. It's we're going to move ahead. We're going to get things done. It may not be perfect, but they're going to happen, and we're going to take care of each other along the way. Your community can be a force for good for all, not just good for who is in charge and who is in power. And hopefully there is a sense that, my community is not better or greater than any other community, than your community. Because in the end of the day, all communities are connected, and we are a part of a human family, and we are part of this planet, interconnected with species that we might not even consider family, but we are all interconnected. So your community might be your friends and family. It might be part of your identity. If you are part of the queer community, if you're a part of a religious community, ask yourself, why are you in this community? What does it mean for you? What does the support look like for each other in that community? And, there's a lot of things happening right now that are threatening to tear communities apart in this country, that are threatening the safety and stability of community members. And all of these communities are interconnected. So again, the question is your community a force for good for all? Not just who is in charge, not just good for those in power. And it's not going to look perfect, but how do we get there? So that all communities might experience peace and safety and freedom. And what would it be like for your true, real self, authentic self, to show up in your community? So these are things I'm thinking about. I don't want to pretend like community is easy, that community is simple, and yet it's something that we all need. So what do we do for ourselves? What do we do for our community members? How do we show up? It's not going to look the same for everybody. But hopefully we can find compassion and care in the midst of these times. Take care, everybody. I know this is a longer one, but just thinking a lot about these things, and hope you can take a few minutes to think about it for you as well. I'd love to see your comments, but more than anything, I'd love to see you in class. Check out my schedule. Website is simply sparkle.vision. Take care.